Teysa Karlov versus Samut, voice of Dissent. Yeah, I think we can keep that. We have access to black and white mana as well as a demonic tutor. That might get us into some fast mana. We'll just get our tap land down first. No sense in taking shock damage from that. Teysa Karlov, Necromonicon Commander. Orzhov, 4 mana for a 2/4. Creatures dying. Speaking of fast mana, yeah, when creatures die, the dying triggers trigger twice instead of just once, and our tokens get vigilance and lifelink. I think in that case we can just go in for a read the bones here. Try and keep our hand full. And just praying that our opponent doesn't scoop here. We never get into mana in the early game with this deck, and as soon as we do, I'm sure our opponent will scoop on us. We'll just get into the Bloodstained Mire here. Then we can get a scrubland with that. Pass it back over to our opponent, and I will be tempted to go for a Lender next turn. But there's nothing on the field to kill. Yeah, not sure what to do there then. We'll go for a Lender. See if we can attempt to get some removal out of our opponent's hand, and we might as well get down the land tax. I don't think we're going to be making use of it this game, but you never know. Our opponent is in colours where they can ramp. Samut, Voice of Dissent, is a double striking vigilance haste creature with flash. It's a 3/4 in Gruul, although it's a Naya commander. 5 mana. Other creatures you control have haste, and white and tap untaps another target creature. We can actually get into Necropotence if we want to, but I think I'd rather... yeah, I'd rather just go for Grave Titan here. And then next turn we can get down Teysa Karlov, and we will have some vigilance life-linking zombies. And Elenda the Dusk Rose triggers on any creature dying, doesn't she? Whenever another creature dies, yes. Gets a +1/+1 counter. Oh, we're not struggling on land drops. Let's go in for our Teysa Karlov. And then I wonder if we just want some kind of sack outlet. Let's go for these things. And Grave Titan will spit out more zombies for us. There we go. One of our creatures has died, and that makes Elander's death trigger twice. We'll go in for Skull Clamp, I think. That's typically what we want to get first in this deck. We do have lots of sack outlets. There's nothing that dies immediately to Skull Clamp in hand. But yeah, hopefully if we get into a sack outlet, we can actually start making use of Skull Clamp. Oh, our opponent gets into Gaia's Cradle. So we may be seeing Samut come down here. Oh no, it's the new card from... I haven't picked this one up yet, but this one's a really good card. Biogenic Ooze. When it enters the battlefield, you create a 2/2 Ooze creature token. And then at the beginning of your end step, you put a +1/+1 counter on each Ooze you control. And you can also put 4 mana into it to create another Ooze token. So with a mana sink, or a land that will create lots of mana like Gaia's Cradle, yeah, that creature could go out of control pretty damn quickly. I think we're fairly safe, and there's a sack outlet, by the way. So let's go in for Phyrexian Tower, Skull Clamp. We can put Skull Clamp onto Grave Titan and see if our opponent wants to kill Grave Titan. We'll offer up the trade anyway. We will not attack with Teysa or Elenda Archmage. Well, not Archmage, she's Elenda the Dusk Rose. First time I played with this. I really like this card, but haven't had a deck to play her in as of yet. Alright, just blocking some zombies. Which actually isn't terrible for us. That puts a lot of counters onto Elenda. Yeah, what do we want to do here then? I think we're okay putting Skull Clamp onto a zombie in case our opponent decides they want to swing in. And then why don't we attempt to start getting some stuff going with Necropotent, seeing as how we're gaining lots of life. Decided to put 7 into Necropotents, because I dare say we're going to draw into another land. Yeah, we will just get rid of the swamp. The reason I'm keeping hold of the what is it called, of the fetch land, is because we do have some things that care about landfall triggers. Yeah, we have some things that care about landfall triggers, or we have one thing in particular that I'm thinking of is Bloodghast, and we can get a couple of landfall triggers with a fetch land. But also we have the Oars of Enchantment. Now, what is it called? The one that spits out servos. That cares about us having a permanent leave the battlefield by the time our end step rolls around. Primeval Titan is not something I want to contend with, so I am just going to Path to Exile that right now. Technically should do it in response to Primeval Titan's trigger resolving, because that might affect what lands they go for, but I don't think it really matters. Okay, going for a couple of bounce lands here. So our opponent is going to have at least 2 lands in hand to play. One of which is Gaia's Cradle. That is a good way of untapping it. Oh, Academy Rector. Well, would be nice to get into another exile effect now. We'll make our land drop for the turn. We can go in for a scrub land with that, get ourselves another white mana. Now then, Blood Artist is worth getting down because we can start pinging our opponent's life total with that. We'll also get down the Oars of Signet. And do we want Viscera Seer or Cartel Aristocrat? I think Cartel Aristocrat, because we can actually start pressuring our opponent's life total a little bit with that. And then it may be worth next turn going for Austere Command to wipe the board, because we will end up with a bunch of tokens from Elenda. So I think it might be worth going for that. As of right now, we'll dump life into Necropotents to draw cards. We won't go for Skull Clamp activations right now. And I think we're okay just keeping... Actually, we'll put the Skull Clamp onto Elenda. I'm not going to swing in because of the Academy Rector. That's the thing that I'm worried about currently. Not as worried about the Biogenic Ooze because we have a board wipe in hand. Put 6 into Necropotents. And yeah, Grave Pact. Grave Pact isn't going to do as much for us as it might, thanks to that Academy Rector. It might just be worth giving them the Academy Rector and letting them go for one of their Planeswalkers. Actually, the wrong Rector I'm thinking of. This one goes for an enchantment. And there are some broken enchantments that this thing can grab, so yeah, I'm not too sure that I want to allow our opponent the opportunity at that. But what we could do is wipe the board, let Academy Rector grab an enchantment and then kill the enchantment with Austere Command. That's one choice we've got. Ooh, Sword of Feast and Famine. Yeah, everything on board is black, isn't it? What does Elenda throw out? That gives us white vampire creature tokens. Yeah, double strike. We don't want to mess around with either. It might just be worth... Yeah, I think it's worth getting out those tokens now. We'll let our opponent swing in first. Yep, in they come. This would potentially be a lot of commander damage. We'll go for Cartel Aristocrat. And we will sacrifice this, and that will give us 2 Skull Clamp triggers, 2 Blood Artist triggers, and 2 Alenda the Dusk Rose triggers. Thanks to our Teysa Karlov doubling up our death triggers. And there we go, we get 2 lots of 10 vampires. And there we go, now that we have all these creatures in play, we can block with all of these in an attempt to kill off our opponent's commander. That will get rid of a lot of our tokens, but it's worth getting our opponent's commander off the field. And also, the more of these that die, the more aristocrat triggers we can get. And I'm just thinking of that now. We actually have the win now, don't we? Because we can just sacrifice all these things. And Blood Artist will drain our opponent for lethal. Yeah, there we go. So all we have to do is kill a couple more vampires now. Or 1 more vampire, and that will drain our opponent for 2, thanks to Teysa Karlov. So there we go. That is typically what we want to do in Orzhov. We want to gain extra life so that we can spend said life on drawing cards and gaining extra mana, things like that. And then we can spit out lots of tokens, gain life from the tokens themselves, deal damage to our opponent, draw cards with Skull Clamp, and just generally take advantage of death triggers. That's Teysa Karlov, and I hope you enjoyed her. Let me know what you think. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.